Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to another video. Now, in today's video, we're going to be going over how to recruit 8 to 12 OnlyFans models per month with this one outreach mechanism. Now, this is going to be a really value-packed video, so make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button, and we'll get straight into it. So let's go over the mechanics of outreach before we cover what this outreach mechanism is. Now, outreach is a gravitational force, okay? Now, it's the method of attracting clients into your sphere of influence and then using leverage to position yourself for the close. It's as simple as that. So when you look at it through this perspective, it just makes it a lot more clearer in terms of what you need to do and what you need to increase when it comes to actually doing effective outreach. So in order to increase the effectiveness of your outreach, which for example, we're going to use the letter E to represent, we need to inflate two variables. And the two variables are volume and leverage. So V stands for volume of outreach and L stands for leverage of value. So the outreach equation can be really simply distilled down to this. So the effectiveness of outreach equals the volume of outreach times the leverage of value. Okay, so let's cover the unit economics. So the unit economics in your outreach should look like the following. So it should be, you do DMs to these models, which means DM to warm lead is what we're looking for. So we should be looking at a 20% conversion rate from DMs to warm leads. From warm leads to sales calls, it should be around about a 30% conversion rate. And then from sales calls to the close, it should be around about 50%. And of course, these numbers here represent the effectiveness of the outreach, which of course can be adjusted by adjusting these two variables and inflating them. Now, so for every 100 people who receive a DM at the start here, 20 of them should become a warm lead, 6 will join a sales call, and then 3 will join the agency, which means to recruit 9 models a month, you will need to send 300 DMs. So it's ridiculously effective when you get the when you inflate these two variables and you have the effectiveness of outreach performing at these sorts of unit economics, and doing so will allow you to recruit 9 models per month just by sending 300 DMs. So to increase the efficiency of outreach, we make adjustments to the outreach equation. And it's as simple as that. Lots of people like to overcomplicate this, but this is really the core metrics behind outreach. Now, the model acquisition mechanism. So the model acquisition mechanism is just a very simple process of a transference of value and a consistent push through the system. And that's really all that's happening within this mechanism. So of course, there's, different parts to it, depending on the different messaging that you're sending, the different copy that you're writing, the different methods that you're using to transfer value, and the methods you're using to continue the models pushing through the system. However, it can be represented as the following. So you have prospect OnlyFans models. You find these OnlyFans models online. By the way, up here with these percentages, we're just representing the drop-off rate from each step of this funnel. You then send DM to the OnlyFans model, which of course can be 0% drop-off rate because it's as simple as just finding the OnlyFans model and sending a DM. Now, at this point, once we DM the OnlyFans models, you want to send over the client attraction asset. Now, there will be around about an 80% drop-off rate because 80% of people will have no interest in either. They just aren't ready to work with an agency, they don't want to, or they just don't really see the value in the actual client attraction asset that you're offering. And of course, here we're also using I'm just going to zoom in here. We're also using a follow-up mechanism throughout this process to make sure that they're going through to the next step to increase or to actually decrease the drop-off rate. Okay, so we send the client attraction asset, and then from sending that client attraction asset to push in for the sales call, we then get a 70% drop-off rate. So make sure we have follow-up mechanisms here in pushing for the sales up call. And then once we've got the sales call, we then want to negotiate the contract, and then we then want to negotiate the contract and then close the model. And of course, we have a follow-up mechanism in place here, depending on if there's, if they don't agree on the contract, we then have to make revisions to the contract. Of course, there would be a drop-off rate, and some people just may not be up for that contract rate at all. So we have a drop-off rate of 50% going from this negotiating contract to close model. And this is the model acquisition mechanism, basically summed up very simply. And of course, throughout this whole thing, the more value you provide, the easier it is to push them through the system. So remember, as we said, this is a very simple process of transference of value and a consistent push through the system. So the more value you transfer to the model, the easier it's going to be to push them through this actual system. So the lower drop-off rates you're going to have, the more effective your follow-up mechanisms are going to be. It's going to be a lot more streamlined the more value you provide, and the less value you provide, the harder it is going to be to push them through the system. So I hope this video was value, and I hope it clears up some questions that you guys may have when it comes to actual outreach in terms of acquiring models for your agency. And of course, your metrics may vary depending on the volume of outreach that you're doing, the actual leverage of value that you're using. So for example, if your leverage of value is something that is really valuable and it's something that you just whipped up in 10 minutes that you're offering to them, then it's not going to be valuable at all. Whereas inside OnlyFans Millions program, we actually have a client attraction asset builder, which we use extensively to make sure that those models that we're reaching out to, the asset that we build and we provide to them, is actually really valuable. So it just makes this whole mechanism a lot more smoother, and it just allows us to achieve these type of unit economics where we're just sending a few DMs and we're getting tons and tons of models onboarded with our agency. And of course, we're seeing these sorts of metrics consistent throughout our community. Okay, so yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.